Hello and welcome to the France 24 interview. My guest today has spent most of his life alongside football pitches. He has become the longest-serving manager in Premier League history. In 22 years in charge of Arsenal, he's won more than a dozen titles, including 3 Premier League titles and 7 FA Cup trophies. Arsène Wenger, hello. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
We're going to start by talking about what it's like to manage a football team. It's all about getting your players to perform at their best, but at the same time, for a team, for a squad. How do you find that balance between personal performance and the team?
You're right, it's getting the big problem of the manager is, of course, to get the players to perform at their best. That's why I always say that to manage a football team is in 20 years is like managing a normal company for 200 years, because you have to be as close as possible to your best. After, they have to perform together, and that comes from understanding their interest to put effort for the team. Life is give and take, and if you give to your team, the team gives back to you. So the first step, I think, comes from the manager, is to understand where does the player perform at his best. For that, you need to observe and get the player into a position that suits his psychological profile, his physiological profile, and after that, you have to give a way to the team to perform together. And the third step, if the player understands that by giving to the team, he can become even a better player, your project becomes their project, and they take charge of it. That is then paradise. That's the dream of the manager. If you manage to achieve that, you have done your job.
A lot of people have been talking about the Wenger style of management. How would you describe your style of managing?
I believe that I manage people with a big confidence in human beings, by showing them that I believe in their quality, and by showing them as well their strong and their weaker points, and but insisting most of the time on where they are good at, because you make your life with your quality, with your dominant quality. And unfortunately, none of us has all the qualities, but you can be successful with one of the dominant qualities that you have. And I always tried to develop that. And I believe as well, we are surrounded by negativity always. And I think the manager has to put the player in a position where he believes in his strengths and where he goes into the game without any inhibition. And that's why the mental preparation is so important nowadays.
You spent 22 years at Arsenal. Things, life, society changed quite a lot in those 22 years. How did you adapt your style of management to the players of today, of recent years, versus the players from the 90s, for example, especially with the arrival of social media, PR, communication, all of that? How did you adapt to that?
Well, I would say that first of all, you take a boy of 18 years of age today and the boy of 18 years of age 20 years ago, the basic problem is the same. They want to be stars, they want to be successful, and they are ready to listen if you can convince them how to become a star, So what I must say, the environment has changed. For the manager, the media environment has changed, because you're much more dedicating time to the media and to communication. You have to convince people. And for the players, the social media has changed a little bit. And I must say the society itself has changed. With a bit less, we are less vertical, more horizontal in our communication, and you are more in a persuasive mode today than in giving orders, So you have to convince people, show them. The image has become much more dominant today. The word communication before was more talking. Today it's more pictures and images.
What about the situation currently? We've seen, for example, at Paris SaintGermain, the president recently taking a jab at his players, saying that they had to put their egos aside and respect the club, give precedence to the club and not to themselves. Do you think there was a problem of authority at Paris SaintGermain, for example?
I don't know, because from the outside it's very difficult to say, because Paris Saint-Germain missed the qualification against Man United after they collapsed. And it's always very difficult to manage a football team once their main priority has gone out. If you in a big club and you miss your main target, it's very difficult to keep the focus of the players. After that, I think, no, you cannot suppress egos. It's important, ego, but the ego is desire. Desire creates attention for the player as well, because if you have a big desire, you're not sure always to manage to achieve it. But you have to get them to use that desire for the team purpose, and that's where Nasser Al-Khelaifi is right. They have to use that together for the main purpose. I believe people are a bit harsh this year with Paris Saint-Germain because they lost this crucial game, and but that's as well because they are so dominant in France. If they don't win the Champions League, it's a bad season.
Now let's talk a little bit about what you've been doing since you left Arsenal. You left just about a year ago, but still, every time there's a major managerial job opening, your name comes up in the media, in the rumors. You've been linked to several different clubs. The latest one, for example, was Newcastle. Is there a chance that we're going to see you on the sidelines this season?
Not in the near future, no. I still am not ready to go back. I thought yes, but I don't think at the moment I will come back. I'm more open now than a year ago to talk about that. But I cannot tell you that in the next 2-3 days I will go into management again. I took a little bit of distance and I enjoyed it. And I worked for 35 years without any interruption, so I think I deserved a little rest.
And if you do go back, you've coached in France, in England. You also had a stint in Japan. Would you want to go back to one of those, or would you want to try another country, Spain, Italy?
Well, I would prefer to try another country, although my preferred time was in England because Premier League is a place to be at the moment. But for me it's very difficult because I've been for so long at the same club. But why not? I still need a bit time to pass and then maybe make the decision.
Now, let's talk about the Women's World Cup hosted by France. It's been a very big success. There's big attendance numbers, big viewership numbers. What do you think of the level of play, what you've seen so far in this World Cup?
Well, I would say that the level has risen in the last 10 years tremendously. There's still some improvement to be made, but the level of intensity is quite surprising. The level of commitment, the level of preparation is absolutely fantastic. So overall, it's a huge success. You do not get 12 million people watching a competition if it's boring. So that is the positive side, is that it's a huge advert for women's football. And personally, I supported always women's football at Arsenal. Because we had a long time very good team, and we still have. So overall, I think it's good, fantastic.
What about your take on the upcoming quarterfinal, France versus the United States? A lot of people say the US are unbeatable. Do you think France can do it?
I believe France, on what I've seen from States, are not unbeatable. And I believe as well that France has achieved the minimal target when you organize a competition at home. If you don't go to the quarterfinal, everybody slaughters you, And they have shown a great level of solidarity. They have a great physical level. They are fit. They have shown a great desire. I believe now, by having achieved the minimal target, you could see an even more efficient French team in the final third, because sometimes I found they wanted to force too much sometimes the decision and lacked a little bit the vision and relaxed attitude in the final third. They have still a resource there. Keep what they have, and play a little bit better together in the final third.
Now, one big criticism about this World Cup, which has been a success either all the way, is refereeing, and especially the use of video-assisted refereeing.
Yes.
What's your take on the use of video? Are you for or are you against?
I'm 100% for. I did fight for that for years and years. I'm a big defender of VAR. The only thing I'm not agreed since the start is that the referee moves off the pitch to make a decision. I believe it has been used in this World Cup a little bit too much in situations where it was not needed, and common sense is the flow of a game has to prevail, you know. And I feel sometimes they have gone a bit too far. But
Or they rely too much on the video?
Too much on the video, yes. And sometimes, for example, the penalty that has been taken twice, just because they've changed the rule. But that will settle with time. That will settle, and we have to keep VAR, but we have to suppress the referee going out on the pitch and leave that decision to the referees upstairs.
Thank you very much, Arsène Wenger, for speaking to us, and thank you for watching France 24. Do stay tuned for more news coming up.